Hello everyone, I see we have quite a few people already queuing up. As usual, just a 10-minute waiting time for everybody to get their act together. So we have quite a few here already in the chat. Leroy, Pascal, David, Garth, Steve, Paula. How you doing, everyone? Good to see you again. Hope everybody had a good week. Here it's been another quiet one. Hello, Chris from Poland. How you doing? Thanks for joining us. Yeah, we had another quiet week here, still confined. The weather was supposed to warm up this week, but unfortunately we didn't have that a warmer spell. It's been cold and miserable and foggy and grey, so I wanted to start getting the float tube out this week, but I got lazy and cold, so I stayed home and worked on a few of these game changers during the week. Eastern Fly, how you doing? Good to see you. Pikey Kosh, how you doing? Good to see everyone. I know everybody has other names in real life, and I never really make the junction between the two, so I know some of you know me, and I'm not too sure to recognize your names on YouTube, so but welcome everyone. Andreas, how you doing again? Good to see you. Julian, everybody, good to see all the usual crowd. So yeah, so it was a quiet week here. That mild weather didn't come, so that was a little bit of a bummer, but sure, it's gonna come one time or another. Michael, how you doing? Good to have you. So yes, I basically got my float tube ready. I put some more attachments on it to be able to film and fish comfortable from it. So I'll be doing a video on the setup of the float tubes, how I set them up. I basically use two float tubes for my float tube fishing. I have one big one when I don't have to walk too much, and then I use a smaller light one that if I need to cross a couple of fields or go over barbed wires and stuff like that, it's easier than carrying the big Scout one. So yeah, just to start off while the room is filling up with people, yes, tonight we're going to talk about Gamechangers and all the other derivative from the Gamechanger family. There is so many of them. So Andreas, good man, building his brushing table. That's good project to have, and it's something that you keep and you'll be using it a lot, believe me, especially if you get into these game changers. You'll be using that table a good bit, and it'll save you a lot of money, and you can customize your brushes. It's always good to be able to do your own things if you can. If you can't, just buy it off. There's some really good people selling brushes out there. Name a few. Beast Brushes in Australia, of course, is one of the main one. Quality stuff. Closer to home we have Jerkbait Mania as well. I think he does brushes as well, so if you don't want to make your brushes, you can get it from these guys. They're quite good. So yes, before I start, I wanted to do a quick little unboxing. I don't really do unboxing, but when it comes from good people, I don't mind doing it. So I am I'm setting up the float tube for this new season. So hello Peter, how you doing? Mysterious boxes. I only have one box, so don't worry. No, it's just a little care package sent from Michael Conway at Conway Angling Craft. I don't know if you know Michael. Michael has a great shop in Ireland now. He's been established for quite some time. But if you have any need of, he does basically really good aluminium boats, all equipped. Fish finders, trolling motors, Scotty mount, Railblazer mount, downriggers. I mean, if you need anything like that, he's a good man to see and to talk to. He knows his stuff, and he's available. So I don't mind doing a plug-in for guys like that. I rather push guys like that, independent people, than pushing you to go and buy something on Amazon. So we have, I'll just give you a quick, I know what's in the box, so yeah, for Michael, yes, you have conwayanglingcraft.ie. If you're in Europe, no problem. Michael will ship anywhere that you want, but basically you can buy, probably not if you want a boat, if you're out the other side of the world, maybe not easy for shipping, but the rest, or if you're in Ireland, I basically buy a lot of my stuff, especially all the Scotty mounts. I really like them. They're very, very sturdy for the boat and for the float tube. So that's where I get my stuff, fast delivery, and he's a good man to deal with. Actually, get back the cam. The camera that I am talking to you at the moment, it's fixed to the wall with the Scotty mount that I use on my boat, so it's handy. You can use that everywhere. So that's what I like about those mounts. We have a few more. Mike, hey, how you doing? GK Production, how you doing? Paul, how are you? And Dave, sorry I'm late. Well, no, you're not that late. We're just starting. In fact, we haven't even started. So yeah, I know what's in that box, and I'm basically really happy about the weight of it, because that's exactly what I try to cut on the float tube. It's the weight that I carry. So the less I carry, the better. Want to be as mobile as possible. No problem, Keith, you're welcome. Saving a few bob, we're all here to save a few bob if we can, and without compromising on the material. So that's the best of both worlds. So what do we have in here? I know what we have in here, so I don't. He's got his new catalog out, so if you order something or if you give him a shout, he'll get you that. But one of the heaviest thing on the float tube that I carry is the battery for the fish finder, and it's a world apart. This is basically what Michael sent me. It's a lithium battery for the float tube. I got the charger with it, but first impression, it looks like it's empty. When I compare that with the other one, I have exactly the same size for my float tube, and yeah, it weighs like a brick. And this is, I don't know, he said it's 600 grams. He said I don't have anything to weigh it here, but I'm gonna weigh it and put it on the blog, because yeah, it's a good advancement in battery technology to have this lithium. So this is really good. I'm really impressed by the weight. So just have to see how it fares in the long run, and the charging, and but I mean, I don't use a massive fish finder. I have a small down imaging one, so I don't think I will drain that in one go anyway. So, but wow, the weight is amazing. Super light. It's like a double D battery. Very happy. Thank you, Michael, for that. Like I say, I don't mind doing plugins for people like that. Absolutely fantastic stuff. So, where are we? Do we have a few questions coming in? What's your recommendation for a rod holder while using a fly rod on the float tube? Depends on your float tube. What can you fix on your float tube? The big one, I can add the glue-on patch on the plastic. I can glue them. Then I can fix anything that I want, from the fish finder to the camera to a rod holder. All depends what you can do with your float tube and the type of float tube. If it's one of them with the canvas on it, you can't glue anything on that. So usually you have these handy little floaty baskets that you attach with the D-ring on the side of your float tube. They would be the best option if you want to carry a spare rod with your float tube. Chris, young angler, is watching you. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for joining. I wish I would started fly fishing when I was as young as you are. Saved me a lot of years. Tying flies with Crafty Fly. Good evening, Crafty Fly. How are you? Good to see you. Wild Man from Hawaii. How you doing? Okay, now, yes, Gamechangers. So first I wanted to start with I started thinking of doing a video of just one specific Gamechanger, the kind of new one that Blaine Chocolate has been developing, and it's something that I really like, because I'm a big fan. When I used to lure fish, I'm a big fan of fluke baits, and I really love the action of fluke baits. My God, I caught so many pike. I think the pike are suckers for fluke baits. But yeah, the whole Gamechanger thing, it's so big. I mean, we have so many different ones. I put just a few here just to show you. I suppose we'll start with the kind of a original Gamechanger type, where you have one hook at the front, followed by a number of sections. Usually you have 6-7 sections behind, between 5 to 7, depending on what you want to do. But 6 section with the hook, you get an absolutely fantastic swim. I mean, this body at the back, you get a brilliant action. So these would be I wouldn't say it's the main Gamechangers, but you have so many different ones. But this is the most common one that you would see, probably not in that size, probably in the smaller size as well, if you fish smallmouth or different fish like that. But for pike, yeah, this is not something massive. I would start to classify those in the big size, in the large size anyway, not the like extra large size. So we have that type. You have smaller ones. Actually, I done some the last time we went on the Inoko. Trevor, how you doing? Thanks for joining. Yes, the last time we went on the Inoko, I tied a bunch of these ones, and I had a great time. I kept on fishing them here in Ireland and still catching crap loads of fish with them. They are super simple to tie. It's 1, 2, 3 section. They're kind of progressive in length. We got a small one, a medium one, a larger one, and then a long shank hook at the front. Far less miss on these, because the hook is not too small compared to the size or the length of the fly. If you put with the one beside here, where can I? Yeah, here. If you see, this is a 6-knot hook, and this is an 8-knot hook. So very easy for a pike to grab those, and the action is quite good on them. You get a mixture of jerk going from side to side, a little bit of fluke as well, because sometimes they want to go up, sometimes they want to go down, and you get that snaky swim bait action as well. So if you don't want to make too many sections, I found that those just with 3 sections at the back worked absolutely brilliant. I had so many fish with those ones. What are these? These are same. This is a 4-section one with a spawn fly fish head on it. These ones as well. Caught so many pike on them. This one, the head is all been crunched. So thanks, thanks, Peter. I'm glad I can see what you're doing behind your screen. But yeah, no, they are good fun. I absolutely love fishing Gamechangers. Another type would be the belly changer. I've been a big fan of the belly changer in the last 18 months, I would say. Just belly hair. So you can make them full belly hair, even the head. So you would get something that is... thank you, guys. The beers are coming in. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you want to buy beers, they are right here. You can click on these or on the super chat. And thank you very much for the beer. I think it's Mike. Thank you, Mike from Belgium. I appreciate the help and the donation, buddy. So yes, you can do something belly changers then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 section plus the hook at the front. This is a full belly changer, so it's going to hang a long time in the water, nearly staying still. So I really like those ones. If you want a little bit less hang time and less floaty, the heads can be made just with some Congo hair, like this one or this one, but still keeping the arse and the body in belly hair as well. So that's another type of Gamechangers. I think I did a video on my channel on the belly changer, how to make them. So if you're interested in making those, you can go on that one. I have another video on the first Gamechangers I used to tie. I used to tie them with the hook at the back as well, right at the back. Sometimes, as you know, pike can be a right pain in the butt, and all they want to hit is just that last little section of the fly or the lure, and it's a pain in the butt when they do that because you just keep missing. But if you put a small hook at the back, now what you have to be careful is that the little trailer hook, don't take a really big hook. You don't need to. You need but you do need a really strong hook, strong quality small hook. Garth, thank you very much for the £3. Much appreciated, buddy. So yeah, don't put a huge hook, because the problem of putting a hook that's too big at the back, you're gonna break the swimming action of your fly. It's not gonna be as free. So the other option that you can do is put a second hook, but riding a little bit higher up. But you're gonna need a longer Gamechanger for that. So basically, I find that's perfect size for pike. Three section and the front there. I find that absolutely perfect size wise. You hook the fish, no problem. Very little missed fish. Easy to cast as well, because that's the other thing. You don't want something that's super hard to cast. Talking about a harder thing to cast, the other end of the spectrum would be the big ones that I tie this week. You've probably seen them on Instagram and on our Facebook. These are like really the biggest of the biggest that I would use and fish. They are like 9 inches long, but they're not that bulky. They are made completely out of canicalon hair, so they actually shed water super fast. Couple of false casts and they're absolutely completely bone dry, these ones. But they are heavy, they are big, they are very wind resistant. So I tied those ones because we've seen it with basically the whole lure industry, how the last maybe 5 to let's say 8 years, how lures for pike have just grown in massive size. More and more people are using huge lures. I'm talking about them 40 centimeter line through trout, and there's no denying they work fantastic. Kay, good evening from snowy Austria. Oh, well, I'm glad it's you and not me. I am happy without the snow, but good evening, my friend. Good to see you. So yes, big lures are the whole craze, and for a good reason. They do work. They don't work every time, but they do work. So I've been pondering a bit how to get fishing really big flies like that without, of course, being tired and breaking your rod, and it's not fun if you can't cast. Ufe, thank you very much for the beers, my friend. Thank you. What length of cast will you use for those little big fellas? Well, that's exactly what I'm gonna start talking with the big ones. Those basically I am tying them for 12 weight. I'm gonna fish those on 12 weight. I have a 12 weight that's sitting here that normally I was supposed to use. I was supposed to go with to French Guiana in last November, but thanks to COVID that didn't happen. So I had the Boca Grande was sent to me from Swift, but I had no use for it, and it's sitting, and it's just breaking my heart to see that rod sitting there and not doing anything. So I know a lot of guys, when you mentioned fishing a 12 weight for pike, a lot of guys are like put back. They're like, oh, I fish my pike with a 8 weight and it's grand. But I mean, if you dabble a little bit in the lure world, it's no big deal to go from an 8 to 12 gram rod and switch to a 300 gram plus rod and cast some big Magnum Bulldog. Nobody bats really an eyelid nowadays. But for fly, if you go above 12 weight, above 10 weight, you pass to a 12 weight, people think you're mad, but you still will get really good connection and a good fight, especially with the fiberglass rod. I'm selling again fiberglass rod, but no, I just love it for that reason too, that a 12 weight in fiberglass is still fun to use on pike, contrary to a big saltwater 12 weight fast rod. So Frank, salut Frank, bienvenue, paddling fly, how you doing friend, good to see you. So yes, these basically I would design that mainly for 12 weight. I went this afternoon and I did cast them with a 10 weight. They cast okay with a 10 weight. I'm not saying they're the best. They are. The only one thing is that because they are so airy, they are kind of very wind resistant. So yeah, you're not going to cast them the whole length of your fly line with these guys. I basically was casting them at about, let's say 15 meters, no problem this evening. But again, you have to see how I want to use those flies. Basically, I'm going to use them either way on the raft, on the rivers. So the rivers are not massive here, so you don't have to cast too far. And I'm going to be casting them as well from a float tube. So that's the other thing, float tube and the raft. I talked about that in an earlier stream about the, how do you say that? The circle of awareness of the fish. That's right. That's the term to use. That circle of awareness, it's basically when you're going to start spooking a fish, when it's going to start thinking, hold on, this is not right. So yeah, if you fish from the bank or on a boat, you're much higher up, sitting higher up. So that circle of awareness, and on the boat, it's a little bit more noisy. A boat goes a little bit deeper in the water. Makes more noise, has a bigger presence in the water. So that circle of awareness where the fish are going to start to feel your presence and being a little bit wary, it's going to greatly diminished. But the good thing when you're float tube fishing on a raft, on a light raft, your circle of awareness is fairly large because you make very little vibration. You can approach the pike fairly okay, like on the float tubes I had pike refusing the fly and just taking refuge right under my arse under the float tube. So this is not spooking them at all compared to a boat. Usually they see the boat and they just bolt the opposite direction and you don't see them again. I believe too that the bigger the fish, the smaller that circle of awareness is, because they are old fish. They got old and big not by chance. They are fish that are wise. They know how to feed. They've been maybe caught in places. If you fish somewhere that's under a lot of fishing pressure, those fish are getting fairly wary, and that circle of awareness with this fish gets really, really tight and small. So you don't need to cast those too far on a float tube. But you do need, if you're on a boat, to cast them further out. So that's why I kind of opt for a 12 weight. I'm not going to fish a 12 weight all day. It's just on certain situation, or if the fish are feeding on really big bait, I will have that option now to try something different. I like to change things and keep my fishing interesting and moving all the time, not just get stuck in a hole with the same rod and the same streamer and the same setup. I like just to kind of spice up things and change and try new things. So this year, yeah, we're going to try bigger flies. So this one, as you can see, it's 2 hook setup. We have one here at the front. So that hook is tied on a shank, on a big long shank. So that actually acts like a rudder, like on a boat. It gives the direction of the fly where to go. And then I have another section in between, a smaller hook. And then I have 3 sections behind that trailer hook. So, hey Roberto, how you doing? Friend from Brazil. Padding fly. Yeah, I think I say hi. Yes. Craig, yes, inflatable are super stealthy. That's definitely, they are more stealthy than hard boat or aluminum boat. But then depends who you have on board too. Yeah, that can play a role as well. Yes, going back to what shall we tie tonight? I'm gonna let you guys a few minutes because I can't tie the whole lot. We're not gonna do the belly changers because I have a video on those. So we can do normal, simple, smaller game changers in three section with the hook, or we can go mad and do the really big one. I mean, the good thing with the big one is that it kind of give you a base. You don't have to tie it that size, but you can get basically the pattern of it and reduce that to a smaller size and use smaller hook, like, you know. So I think we could go with something like that, tie a big one, and with this you'll have a good base after to change. I mean, it's up to you to put whatever shanks you want, the number of shanks, experience. A good thing as well is putting foam in the head, either way to make them suspending, or like I did on the Rodent 2.0, this guy too. That guy has caught me so many big fish. An absolute favorite of mine. It's basically a game changer, a 4-section at the back with a little bit a tail made out of fossu head. But the difference is that at the front I have these 2 big foam sheets. They're not even sheets, they're just like big chunks that I cut off a block. And these ones, basically, it's a diver. So it dives and wiggles and come back to the surface. And when it sits on the water, you basically have just this sticks on the water and the whole body is down, straight down like this under the water. And when you strip, it gets that dive, wiggle, and then back up. So that's a really good one. I have a video on that one too if you want to tie it, but this is really, really a good one, like, you know. And then as well, the jerk changer. I'm gonna, Andres wants the jerk changer, some wants the big one. I'm gonna start making some shanks, I think, and I'm gonna do different setup with the shanks, and you can see first how is basically the skeleton of a jerk changer and the big one that I tie. So I hope you have time tonight because it could be a long one. But sure, what else do we have to do tonight? So I'm just gonna change the cameras, move all these guys. Actually, no, I don't need. I'm going to just do it here. So usual tools of the trade. I have round nose pliers. We have some spring wire. So for the lighter ones, I like to use 0.7 mil up to 0.8 mil. That's usually good enough. Of course, the absolute necessity, the one-step looper. I like to use the 3mm one. I think that's the bigger one to do. And a good pair of wire cutters. I wouldn't call them goods, but they're okay. So I'm gonna first do a setup for a jerk changer. So I'll give you an idea. See, I'm under the camera and you guys can see properly. Maybe I bring down the camera a bit. Okay. So we're going to start just to make a few shanks, and that's going to be our start for the jerk changer. So you see it's just takes a few seconds to do a shank. And there you go, that's the first one. It's fairly fast. The first one for the tail, I'll just like to keep it simple. I just bend the loop, do the one-step looper, and just cut it. And that's simple like that. That's all you need for the tail. Like, you know, you can tie your tail that way and then link it to the rest like that. So you don't need to make two loops for the tail. Keep going. We're gonna make how many we're gonna make? 4, 5. I'm gonna make 5. So yeah, basically the jerk changer, the hook is pushed a good bit back, nearly in the middle of the fly. And what happened in front of that fly, a bit like the big ones I tied, you have a big long shank at the front, and that front of the fly basically acts like a rudder. So that's what's gonna change the direction of the fly and make it act a lot more like a fluke bait or a jerk bait, instead of just a normal game changer. Yeah, the 1 millimeter, you have to go really slow when you squeeze with that. Don't go hard on the 1 millimeter. I use 1 millimeter for the big game shank. If I need something really strong, or if I tie flies for guys for musky, or if I tie articulated fly for saltwater, I would use the 1 millimeter. But you need to go very slowly when you squeeze that one-step looper, because it's not gonna live long. Like. So basically we have our tail, our first tree section. Thank you, Pikey Kosh. Thanks for the beer, mate. I'll have a drink myself. Okay, I'll get some hooks now. Now the one thing with the jerk changer, from what I gather, because it's not something that I could got my hands and eyes on a real one. So, but what I know is that the balancing of that fly of the jerk changer is very important if you do want to achieve that swim. I done some trials myself. I found that the one with the foam in the head, I kind of have a better swim for the what I want to achieve. You have that lot more suspending action with the foam. So I'm going to tie it with foam like that. So like that you can see how it's to put the foam and insert the foam. Another thing that's important as well is to kill that fly as well. Depends on the hook and how you tie and the material, how your brush is going to be compacted or not compacted. Basically, you can only know that once you start trying out and fishing your jerk changers. Like, believe me, the first one is not going to be great, or it's going to be. It's a working process to find out, because we all use different materials. When we met our brush, they're slightly different from one to another. So I found, for me, a little bit of foam in the head helped a lot more to keep that fly up and sitting, and then jerks and side to side and just sit there. That's what I like in fluke bait. It's that fact that they have that little hang time before they start sinking again. One thing that you can use, you can wrap at the base of just at the bend here of the hook, you can wrap a little bit of lead wire and coat it with some UV resin if you want. Other thing that you can use is the body for tying gammas. They are already pre-formed and they have the kind of curve and shape of the hook, and the inside is concave as well, so it kind of sit even really well on the hook. A lot of the guys use that, so that's basically going to kill that fly and make it sit properly in the water. That's one thing that has to be done. But again, like I said, depends what the swim that you want to achieve at the end. So try it. Tie one with foam, one without foam. See how it kills, see how it swims. But I found mine without any weight on the hook, but I use a fairly heavy wire hook. But at the front, I like to put that foam, and I really like it, especially fishing it with a sink tip. It really is nice in the water, really nice. So we have our 1, 2, 3, 4 section. We're going to make the connection to the hook now. So connection to the hook is exactly like the first one we tie for the tail, but a little bit longer. Because we don't have any trailer hook at the back, we don't need to have an extra over secure connection. So what I did is basically another simple pin like that, and that's going to sit on top of the hook and link the rest at the back like that. And then we have that big long section at the front that's going to create the head. You have different version to do that head. I'm going to do the second version on like I did on the big flies. You can do that too, but I found that first with just an articulation at that big long section at the front helps a lot more for the move of the fly. So I like to basically keep it 1.5 times nearly 2 times the size of the shank of the hook for that big front one. After I could be completely wrong for the size and the dimension, the proportion, because everybody has their own way of doing it, and at the moment it's kind of trial and error. So that's basically I'll try to get that camera a bit closer again. So that's that big long shank at the front, the hook. So we have that big long head here. Like that. We have that connector that's going to be tied on top of the hook. And then we got our tail section. So instead of having basically a Gamechangers where your hook is just simple here and you have your section at the back like here, we add at the front that big front section to give that nice side to side swim. Everybody good? Everybody is okay so far? Get more light. So the big front section, heavy gauge hook. Now if it doesn't kill properly, like I said, add some lead wire at the bottom here, just at the bend. We have the connector, and then we have our tail section. So that's basically the internal skeleton of a jerk changer. For the big one, like this one, I'm just going to tie going to show you the different section now, how I tie those. So this one basically is the same. We have the tail section here. Try to put it with the fly so you can see. So we have the tail section. We have 1, 2, 3 section. 1, 2, and 3 section. Okay. Then we have a trailer hook and a connection. Okay. Then after I put another shank here at the front. I'm using slightly heavier wire now because I don't want that to bend too much. So now we have that shank here. Okay. And then I'm going to put on these ones, I put a 6-knot hook here. And the whole trick is in the how we're going to build that last section here to get that hook matching and having that big long section, because if you see there, the section goes from here all the way to the front, and you see the hook is only here. So we're going to tie a long section that's gonna include the hook inside. So just measure it. See if you can see a bit better. Okay. Measure it so it sticks a little bit at the back for your section. Okay. Going towards the tail. So the hook at the back. Like this. Now what you're going to mark is exactly the point where the eye of the hook meets with your wire. And we're going to create a little hollow in it just by bending the wire and creating a tiny little loop within the wire. See, we just created a little hollow here, just bending the wire. So that's where your hook is going to sit properly. So you'll be able to wrap it up properly and it'll be really secure. So then we have the front head, which goes a good bit in front like this. About the same size of the length. After, for the size, don't get me wrong, like you can experience, if you don't want a head so long, you can go with a smaller one. I'm sure it'll work, no problem. Cut the wire. Okay, you see how different that shank is. So we're going to start again. I'll show you tail section. 1, 2, 3 articulation. Tie it up to your back hook like this one. Then I like to put an extra articulation just to separate these two hooks. I don't want them too close to each other, okay? And then we have that section, that big long straight section with the little recess here. So that's basically for your hook to slide in. So the hook goes in and sits into that little section that we did. And with the band, you see, it's going to come and rest perfectly. And then we just have to wrap all that and then stick that at the front. So that's basically the skeleton of this one here. And what I think of it, I am terrible for names, but I want to make sure I give credit where credit is due. There you go. This is from Todd Arnold. If you're on Facebook, you can find Todd. He's as well in that nice group, the Game Changer Fly group. If you're not on it, just get on it, because there's a lot of talented guys that are absolutely getting some really good flies. And this is where I saw that front section that includes the hook. I really liked it because it kind of keeps everything straight and together. And then you get that big long head at the front. So that's from Todd. Todd got that one, and I really like it. I'm well impressed. It's solid. It doesn't move, and you can extend then have that big long head at the front, including the hook. So this is Todd's wire setup, and I really like that one at the front. I don't know if it worked with the jerk changer. I haven't tried. Trying on the big fly like that, it doesn't really jerk much. It has just a different swim, but it's not exactly a jerk changer fly, this big one. It'll be just, I would put it in between a jerk changer and a game changer, this one. It kind of go swim bait when you pull it, and on strips and sharp strips you would get a little bit of a fluke, but not as much as if we do the jerk changer. Okay, I've been talking there. I'm going to check what did you guys have to say, if you have any questions. Maxime, il comprend toujours pas l'anglais. Bah Maxime, il va falloir apprendre. Mais si tu as des questions en français, si tu es coincé, tu peux toujours me demander. Hein. What do we have? All the shanks in 0.7 mil. The lighter one is 0.7 mil, and the thick one is 0.8. That's what I have. 0.7, 0.8. Yes, really cool idea with the recess. Really happy with that. That's fantastic. Like, absolutely fantastic. Like, this is all the heads of these big long ones. They're included like that. So really like it. Tie like monster fly with those. But like I say, you can use that as a plan, and nothing stops you to shrink that. Even take away the back hook like that, and just keep it like this. Take the back hook, and you can do a fly like that as well. Maybe a little bit shorter head, or maybe a smaller hook. So, I mean, it's a bit like Lego. After once you have all these different sections that you're gonna make, the different shanks, you're gonna have big ones, small ones. It's up to you after to utilize all that and kind of build and go with your own intuition as well, because that's sometimes what a lot of people lack. I find they just want to copy word for word, but it's good to push yourself, do your own thing, because sometimes you might discover something that others haven't thought about, or you might customize a fly to the needs that you have with the fish that you have. So that's another thing that sometimes I don't recommend people to go like do exactly to the letter the same thing. Use as a base, do what you want as you feel. Kind of stay within the reason, of course, like, but I mean, you see how game changers are built. We don't it's not too complicated. Like, it's just sections, keep the proportion okay, and that looks natural and would swim naturally. So we're gonna tie the jerk changer. So I'm gonna move all this camera. So I'll go back to this one. So I'm not gonna make everybody seasick moving the camera. So the hook that I use different hooks. One hook that I really like for the game changer is the big game from Kona. I think it's here. I have some left. Yes, the big game carnivore from Kona hook. I really like those ones. Other hook that I use here, these ones. These are a little bit strong. I'd like to find a little bit. I use the Top Guns as well. Hold on. Get the hook box for you. Alright, one that I like that's not too expensive and that's really, really strong. It's the 470 Top Gun. Now this one is an offset hook. If you don't like offset hook, you just bend it back when you put it in the vise. It's no problem, and you have a straight hook. The Top Gun, and I like as well the Shinu, the 450 Shinu from Sakuma. Now you have really good ones with RX as well. I don't know the reference of the RX one, but basically you want to keep to those shapes. Not a massive shank. The one that I like for pike as well that will never break are these ones, the inline octopus. These are Gamakatsu, the SE4XST. Now I use those when I go saltwater exotic or things like that where I don't want something to open. So these will not open on the pike. I can guarantee you that. They are super strong, very sharp. They're not too expensive as well, so they are good value for money, these Gamakatsus. So yeah, basically that's the hooks that I use. I'd like to find more Kona. I enjoy using Kona. I got some sent by them when they started. I got a good few packs and they're all gone. Like I've used them all and really, really happy with them. They are very nice hooks. Okay. Well, actually, I'm going to use this one. I'm going to use the tree, my last one. I'm going to use this one for that tie. Okay, now I have to see. Give me 2 minutes. I get that vise sorted now. That's the problem. I don't have a proper filming studio, so every time I change everything, it's a bit crazy because the light changed. So I'm just gonna see if that works. Yes, now we are upside down. Not to worry, we'll fix that. There you go. That's not too bad. First attempt. Could have been worse. The good old SS12S. No problem. No problem. 6 knot for the big ones. And 440 for the smaller one. Perfect. Even 20 for the little one. This is an 8 knot SL12S. No problem. Really good hooks. Really, really good hooks. I only have big ones. That's why I'm not using them at the moment. I only have 8.0, so that's a little bit overkill for these flies. So, okay. Let's do that jerk changer. And hopefully it'll jerk. So I'm going to start with the tail. So the simple, small, open shank. Better not miss some questions. Sakuma makes another appearance. Yes, they always make an appearance with me because I'm always been happy with the value for money and the quality I got from my Sakuma hooks. They have never let me down. Apart a little bit light if you go exotic fishing. I wouldn't. But they're okay for here for cold water and pike. Bonjour le Normand, JB. Salut, salut. Merci de nous avoir rejoints. So, point of glue. So for the fins and the tail, you can use I use hand cape, simple hand cape. You have loads in it, plenty to get. Well, that's exactly what I said earlier, Pascal. The difference between the jerk changer and the game changer. The jerk changer has a jerked movement. So when you strip and it moves, it's like a fluke bait. I don't know if you fished fluke bait. If you ever lure fish, if you know what a fluke bait is, it's basically when you strip or you tap the rod, that bait is gonna go any direction that he wants to. You don't really if you would fish a normal jerk changer, you know it's gonna go side to side. Fluke bait, when you tap it and when you strip, it's gonna go one time. It's gonna go up. One time it can go down. One time it's gonna go to the side. That's the idea behind the jerk changer. You get that wiggle action while it goes to the side, and then you get that nice glide, and then you strip and it glides again. Difference with the jerk changer, basically the jerk changer is not going to do this side to side glides because it has the hook at the front. So what's going to happen with the jerk changer, usually it's going to start to go and the tail is going to follow behind, and you're going to get that swim bait action behind a normal game changer. So jerk changers, you have that fluke side to side, up or down action with longer hanging time. And the the game changer, you would have more that swim bait action when you pull it. So that's basically the two different ones like that. More hang time with the jerk, and a little bit less. How would you say? You can't really say which way it's gonna go. Like you. Not as easy to know what direction it's going to go when you're going to strip it. The game changer, you know when it's going to strip, it's going to start kicking that tail and moving. Jerk changer, you're going to have that side to side and that glide action as well. So I find that glide action, easier to achieve with foam in the head. I know some people say to change the material that you use, something a little bit more dense at the front, fiber a little bit more dense, a little bit more packed as well, just to hold that streamer up in the air a little bit more. But I found it erratic. That's the word. Thank you very much, Steve. I have a hard time finding my words tonight, but erratic, yes, this is the word I was looking for. Imprévisible in French. Erratic. So we're going to go and build a nice tail for this guy. So I usually like to put about 6 of those on the tail. So like that, if some comes undone or broken off, you still have a few. And we're going to just put them all around the shank. Yes, the difference is where you tie the hook. So like we said, game changers basically have the hook right at the front of the fly. and then you have all the articulation at the back. Jerk changer, the hook is a lot more back, and you have all that front section as well in front of the hook to use as a rudder to give it that direction. So it's the direction of the hook and the weight balancing as well of the hook. So you might need to put some wire, like I said earlier, at the shank of the hook to sit it properly, and change the density of the fiber, or add some foam at the front to help it to rise it a little bit and have that longer hang time, especially when it'll jerk from side to side. Fly versus jerk changer, yeah. Yeah. But you don't have to buy a spotted bull nose or bull head or whatever they call it. Okay. I'll tie these guys. So hand capes is not too expensive to buy. It's not like a grizzly cape. You buy that for about 10 to 15 euro for a nice cape. Feathers are nice because they don't drag too much in the water at the back. Clean the feather, take all the fluff down. One more and we have the tail done. So see, that's the easy part. Now again, you really have to do it with brushes. It'll be easier for you. You won't waste as much material as well. So if you want to tie that fly, make your own brushes or buy some good brushes. So basically there you go. We have the tail section. Okay. Nice movement in the water. Natural. And it holds quite a good bit as well. So oh, by the way, thanks for all the ones that took part on the little questions on Instagram today. I think the winner is definitely the orange yellow color. I think that's what you guys decided to take. I tied a few brushes this week, and I'll check now. 60, 74, yes, 83% of you want the orange and yellow one, so we're gonna tie it orange and yellow. Andreas, thanks for the beer, buddy. Thank you very much as usual. All your help is very appreciated these days. So thanks for that, guys. Thank you, thank you. I'm losing all my shanks now. The brush, that's the other thing you need. Every lap you do with the brush, just make sure you untangle all the fibers on your brush. No need to pack it. Okay, just put enough, especially at the tail section. We're going to cut off a good bit, so there's no need to have a huge amount there. I have to find it. There you go. Cut that off. We finish. And we got our first section done. Basically, repeat. Put a dab of glue at the end. Make sure it's nice and solid. And we move to the next section. I don't know about the welding wire. I've never used it, the TIG wire. I just buy, because it's not that expensive, spring wire, stainless steel spring wire. So I haven't tried any other really. I know some guys mention aluminum wire as well. So I had no need to change it to different wires. Actually, talking about size and weight of wire, I found out that the really big Gamechangers that I tied there, they cast a lot better with really thick wire. I go to the 0.8 all the way for those ones. If you guys haven't watched the last few videos of Gunner, he has a great section where he talks about the. I will include that on the blog, his video on the blog, because I don't want to go into it in details and start the whole thing again. But you can watch his video. Basically, the weight ratio to wind resistant in a fly to get that sweet spot of weight and bulk to make your fly easier to cast. So sometimes a really big bulky fly, to make it easier to cast, basically I'm going to shorten the story, but you can watch his video, it's very informative. But to get a better cast on a very bulky fly, if you had some weight, you will cast it easier. So a lot of people think you need to go super light to be able to cast them, but it's not necessarily true, especially if it's a big wind resistant and bulky fly. So go and check his last video that he did there. He kind of explained it in more detail than me now. But sometimes going for super light shanks is not necessarily the right thing to do. So bear that in mind, depending on the bulkiness of the fly you're going to make at the end. So a more streamlined one, you don't have to put as much weight, basically. Okay, second section. Now these brushes are all 100% Canicalo. I have some others with mixed Congo. Both works. Like, the only thing, Congo kind of hold on to water a little bit more than the Gamechangers would, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. Yes, he ties with a scale now, Gunnar. Yeah, he took it to another scientific level. I'm not pushed to use scales because on the big streamer I tie, I don't have the necessity to know exactly the grammage of the fly. Is really like I'm okay. I go with the feeling, but the idea of weight to bulkiness ratio is really definitely makes sense. Like, you know, so. There's the other one. Whip finish and move to the next. Put some glue. Or a little bit. What I like to do is just a little. Get your hair clip. Push everything at the back. And use a little dab of UV resin. That kind of help the fibers to sit. I move to the next section. Clip and go to the next. That color of brush is the Gamechangers from Cyberlock shop, and it's I think the electrical yellow mixed with the fluoro orange. So it's a kind of, it's very punchy, but the yellow itself is very punchy. Like, but mixed with the orange, it kind of tones it down a little bit. You get that kind of a sunset color. I really like it. It's a nice color combo. Like, yeah, that's a good thing about making your own brushes. You can do the one that you really want. Sometimes you might have still some fibers trapped, so a little dubbing needle, you can go really in there and pull them out if the brush didn't manage to get them untangled. Okay, what do we have now? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3 section. I'll put in a fourth one. I'm going to move to the hook. Okay, that's the last one before we move to the hook. They are definitely time consuming. Between the time that you make the brush and then tie the fly, it's definitely a not 5-minute tie, these ones, but they are very durable if you make your brush properly, and you get your shanks and all. It's a very durable fly. You would fish those for a very long time before they have to retire. The canicalon is very resistant, or the Congo hair, or whatever fiber you use, it's synthetic. So this fly is usually would, unless you lose it in a tree. All right, Paul, go and prepare your fishing gear. Enjoy the day tomorrow. So it's weekend. Not only it's time consuming making the brushes and the shanks and tying the whole lot, then you have to trim that thing, and that sometimes can take even longer. Never get satisfied with the trimming. You go back and forth, trim again the next day. Okay, that's the last tail section, and we're going to say body as well. If you want to make a two-tone, to make it the easiest, hold on, I'm missing questions there. Ministry Microfly, when do you use 2 hook and only one? Well, basically, if I miss pike with 1 hook, my first thing to do is not to put 2 hook, but I rather go with a smaller fly. Like I showed at the beginning of the stream, small fly with like not too many section at the back, like say 3 section behind, and just the hook at the front like this. You rarely will miss a pike on that. Very, very unusual that it's just going to nip at the tail. I put 2 hooks when the fly gets big. When then I use a fly like those big ones, it makes sense to have a trailer hook to me. But if I'm missing, like let's say a fly like this one only has a front hook. So if the pike are hitting that and just are starting to nip at the tail and missing, my first reaction, instead of putting 2 hooks, I just go for a smaller fly. A lot of people kind of always think of putting a second hook, but sometimes the trick is just to go a size smaller, and sometimes even 3 size smaller of a fly. So try that first. Go down a size of fly instead of putting 2 hooks. That would be my first action, like to do. Julian, he wants to make a 2-color belly changer. The best thing that you can do, if I would do that, is make a white brush and then spray it, either way with an air gun, or color it with Sharpies or Copic, which I'm not fan with Copic because I don't like the way the colors washes out so fast with Copic. If only Copic had a really good ink, like a pro marker, it would be fantastic. But the Copic marker they don't last forever. They wash out after a few hours in the water. They wash out, so I don't like it. So Yes, they are definitely a labor of love. When you have them in the box, yeah, they are special little things like that you kind of cherish and you hate to see retired, or even worse, losing them on a tree or a root. But usually it's fairly unusual, like you keep those flies for a very long time. Alright, now we're going to connect this to the hook. So no need for a strong connection, a basic pin connection like this one, like the one we did earlier. Focus, thank you very much. So a simple pin like that, that's gonna connect it to the hook, because we don't have any trailer hook, so it's not a problem. So yes, if you want, I would make a white brush, and from the white brush I would just either way paint it with an airbrush, or do it with permanent marker. Because if you pack the fibers, I found by packing the fibers, what happened is that you put too much fibers in it, and they retain too much water, and then they become difficult to cast. So they're a little bit counteractive after when they get when you pack too much the fibers. But saying that, on the small one like this, let's see, I have some here. These are packed fibers. They're not made from brush. Okay, that's orange Congo at the top and white Congo at the bottom, packed and tied. Don't pack them too much. Okay, if you just do it like that, don't pack them too much. That's the only thing I would give you as a tip. But you can do it like that. I think it's okay if you keep them that size small, but if you're gonna make like big ones, 5, 6, 7 sections, I rather use a brush than packing the fibers, simply because they're gonna be a little bit easier to cast. Okay, so we got our hook now. We're going to put our pin at the front, or on top of the hook, sorry, I mean. Tie it loosely. Make sure it's sitting nice on that hook. And then you can wrap it properly. Okay, well, we're nearly there. All we have to do after, I'm going to make another stronger shank for the front, but we're going to wrap this, and then we're going to put that long head at the front, and that should be our jerk changer. I'm going to tie another one with thicker wire, because I don't like that 0.7 is a little bit weak for that. I like the 0.7 for the back of the hook. It doesn't take too much stress. Okay, and wrap it up. Wrap and brush. Wrap and brush. right, that's the hook done. Cut that off. And the hook section. Clip it and glue it or put some resin. All right, nearly there, guys. Big bunch of nothing here. It's all gonna take shape once we're gonna start trimming that. Like I say, a trimming can take a while too. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the 0.8 mil. Get a good thick shank at the front. I want something that it's not gonna bend, because especially if you make a long shank, especially with pike, they would have a habit of biting on that and bending it right, left and center, like. And that's it. You gotta love how once you got the knack to make these shanks, they just go so fast. It's great. Okay, now we see we have that big long head at the front. Where do I get my wire from? I bought this one. Where did I buy that one? I bought that one from pêcheur.com. French website. It's a bit like a huge supermarket, fishing supermarket. Sometimes you find it on eBay. If you have patience, you can buy it from China. Sometimes you can find sellers from China. It takes about 6 months to arrive, but if you go on eBay, sometimes there's if you're in the UK, there's quite a few sellers on eBay UK. Just type spring wire, stainless steel spring wire, and then the size that you want. So the 0.7 or 0.8 to start is a good size. I like that size. All right, now we have that big long one to wrap up, and then it's scissor time, hairdresser time. Yeah, you see, because that front is so long. I didn't get that. No. Could you try again? Jesus, there's the phone going mad now. Shut up. Yeah, because that shank is so long, it will easily get bent by even a small pike would bend the 0.7 mil. So 0.8, 0.9, up to 1 mil, but 1 mil, be careful and don't break your one-step looper. All right, finish the head. Hold on, I forgot. I better put some glue on that shank. That's definitely something you don't want to forget. If you don't put some proper amount of glue on that thread and shank, you're gonna have the whole thing will slide down after onto the shank. The whole brush will start sliding back down after. So make sure you put a good helping of glue on that. Why not 1 mil for the front? You can use 1 mil. I find I can get away with 0.8. But if you have a problem with spike bending the 0.8, because the way I have it, I have 1, 2, and 3 coming back. So I have 3 basically section of 0.8 sitting on the shank. I have the main one, and then it loops this way, and then it loops the other way at the front. So I have 0.8, 0.8, 0.8 3 times on it. So that's why I don't want to put 0 or a full 1 mil, because if I would wrap it around and run, I have like then 3 layers of 1 mil, and I think it's a little bit too excessive. But if you just do up and down 0, 1, you can do that as well if you find that it's okay. Like. Marvin, is it the same wire they use for saltwater big game? I wouldn't be able to tell you. Like I don't know the wire. I wouldn't tell you for sure because I don't know the wire you talking about. I wouldn't like to tell you anything wrong about that. But let's see if we could just find it. Hold on, give me a second. We're gonna go. Let's see. Okay, we have it down here. Okay, well, these are already springed. I'll file a coil. No, obviously it's not doing what I want. I'll just show you where I got mine. I got it here, pêcheur.com. I think it comes from France. That's it. You just put piano, a reference for piano wire in France. In French, it's called piano wire. And there you go. That's the exact same one that I use. And it's at €3.90. And you have in it... What? You have 10 meters for like €3.90. That's the one that I use here. So they have 0.9 at the moment. They only have 0.2, 0.3, 0.9, and 120. So there you go. They don't even have the one that we need. So, but that's where I get mine normally. Like. Oh, you broke your one-step looper on 0.8. That's unlucky, mate. Because I had people that had it on 1 millimeter. They had problem with the one-step looper, but yeah, 0.8. That's unlucky, dude. I have to say, I never used the one-step looper for cutting the wire. I don't know. Did you try to cut the wire with it, or was it just bending it? Because one thing I found that even with the light wire, cutting it to make the closed loop is a little bit dodgy with it. So I just rather loop it and then close it by wrapping the thread on it. Hola, Jose. We have a Spanish friend joining us. We're fully international now. Good to see everyone. Okay, last section. I'm gonna get that big head and not forget we're gonna put some wings on it. So we'll do a few wraps at the head. That'll do, just to hide that section, that link between the hook. We'll leave that nice and clean. Try to separate the fibers, always a pain with a brush. Okay, now we're going to use some of the cape. So for that one, yeah, just bending it, you broke it. That's unlucky, dude. I know some guys have that bought the one-step looper on Amazon managed to get a reimbursement after breaking it. So try to moan a bit, maybe you get something out of it. So we're going to make some fins. So the hand cape, we're going to use some of the larger feathers, and I'm going to double them up on each side, so 2 and 2. I'm going to put them one against the other like this, so they sit properly together. Again, I double just in case if one gets cut, at least you have another one. You can tie without that as well. But it does have a nice effect in the water. I do like it. Onto the side, put in position. Okay, so we have 2 on that side. I'm going to put the other 2 on the other side. Clean the fluff at the bottom of the feather. It'll make it easier for you to tie it. And we go on the opposite side. Make sure they're about the same length. They are well sitting properly together. Same distance. And we're good. At this stage, I like to just put a little dollop of glue in there, just to hold all the fibers and the feathers together. Help them not to slip out of it. Now bring our thread back at the front. And now we keep on, bring that brush forward. And we keep on wrapping. Now, like I said, try it with keeling that hook if you need to. Look how they swim. Like I said, it's there's always something different that needs to be done with the Gamechangers. So it's all a question of tweaking them to your style of tying and the material that you use to get the desired swim and effect that you want. Then once you have your own recipe and you know how much fibers and how it works and what catches fish for you, then you can apply that over and over. Once you have it, you have it. So, but like I said, on these ones, I like to put a couple of bits of foam in it. So you can use the blocks that any fly shop sells, like the closed cell foam. Cut some little sliver of it. I made some popper not too long ago, and I had to cut the belly of the popper. So I have this nice flat, so they're round on one side and they're flat on the other, because where I cut the belly of the popper. So I didn't throw those out, and I was right, because they make perfect little lip to be tied on the hook there, on top of the hook. All I have to do is just cut a little bit at the bottom like a point, so I'm able to tie that bit of foam. Put a bit of glue, secure that foam. Peter, have you ever done just canicolon brushes or without, or any with other fibers? Yes, we done last week. We done some. Where are they? I'll find those ones. I think they're here. Yes, last time on the brush, when we done the brush, I done some in Congo hair. So these are Congo with Angelina fibers, so it's a finer one. This is mixture of canicolon, Congo and Angelina fibers as well. That's pure Congo hair, and those ones are pure canicolon with nothing else. Yeah, those brushes are forever. They're long. Okay, so we got our little bit of foam tied up. Put a little bit of glue, and now again bring the thread at the front and wrap again and brush. So these ones, because the foam is a little bit thick, it's not like a 2mm, it's a little bit more, there's a little bit more body. I'm just going to put two bits of foam on this one. Like I say, after you start to get a little bit the nose on the amount of stuff that you need to put. So we wrapped up, brought it up 6 times forward there. I'm going to tie it again. Tie that brush. Untangle some of the fibers there. I see them, they are wrapped around. That's it. You get a far better finish if you make sure that all those fibers are sitting properly. And we're going to put our second little bit of foam here. Same length as the other one. A good thing with the foam is that if you put too much foam, you can always cut it back. And even if you put way too much, you can always just simply rip it off. So it's not going to change anything to your fly. So it's the kind of thing, it's not a big deal if you put too much foam and your fly is just sitting and floating way at the top of the water and you can't make it sink. So first time you're going to go and fish that fly, just bring a pair of scissors with you and just fine tune it on the water. And that foam, I'm going to have to cut it because I think it's a little bit long for the overall effect that I want, but it's better to have too much than not enough. Alright, we arrive at the head. Make sure it's nice and tight. Compact, not too much, but you get a nice bulk. And now we're going to finish it off. And we're there. All we have to do is the big long strenuous job of giving it a big long haircut. I'll show you the way I cut mine. Each to their own after, how you want to trim it. From what I see with most of the guys when they start tying these Gamechangers, or jerkchangers or whatever changer, is that when they trim, there's not enough trimmed. It's usually too bulky as a fly. So you'll see you can trim a good bit of these flies to make them move properly. It's both, Craig. The foam basically will help to of course keep the fly upright, but it's gonna help it as well when you're gonna initiate that side movement on the strip. It's gonna help it to glide and hang in the water instead of just turning and just starting to sink. It's just gonna turn and then sit like this, and then you can strip it to the other side and it'll go the other side, and same thing, it'll just hold itself like that. It's just for more hanging time in the water. Okay, now what we need now is to give the whole lot a brush. And I show you how I like to clip mine. So we have this big beaver looking thing. Okay, so the way I like to start trimming this is to just go straight at the tail. I start at the tail. I'll remove this guy. Okay. So there we have the tail. You can feel between your fingers where that first section is. So I'm gonna go right down in there and start, like, don't be afraid there, because at the bottom there's really no need to have all those hairs. I could tie brushes that are a little bit not as long, so I'll be saving some Congo hair, but the problem is when I tie shorter brushes with Congo, I start to have a bit of a problem. When you brush them, they kind of slip out a little bit. They're not as easy to make, I find. So that's basically the length that I make them. And Canicalon is not that expensive, so we can afford to have a little bit of waste. So this is where it takes, because you don't want to go too hard and have something that's ugly looking, or you cut too much. So take your time. So you see now that tail there at the base of that second section, I'm coming in slight angle, about 45 degrees. Now I'm pretty happy with the base here, the way I came into it, but then I have all the stragglers. We don't need those. Those have to be removed. So these you can go just on the side, lift them off and cut them off. We don't want them. We want them feathers to be free. We don't want any fibers in those feathers. All right. And then just gradually think of the shape. It's good just to go, like I said, very, very rough at the beginning. And slowly bring it tighter. Because you don't want too bulky, definitely not. That's going to make everything difficult. I see some people using a beard trimmer. I didn't try. I just wouldn't trust myself with it. You can see I'm not an expert to trim my beard. So if I don't do it on myself, I wouldn't do it on my flies. So just taking down all this volume down. Still is way too much hair, but We don't want to go too fast. Take our time. Get down nice and tight. Now we're starting to have a bit of a shape at the tail there, but the rest of the body is way too bulky still, so we need to bring that a lot down. Once in a while, just cut it, have a look at it. Okay, we can see it still has a massive fat butt here. We need to bring that down. Another thing that sometimes can help you is just put it flat on the table. See if you see it here. That's it, just flat on the table like that. And do side by side, bring it down. Thanks, ministry. Yes, I should start cutting hair, yeah. I tell you what, you become a hairdresser after tying a few Gamechangers. Definitely. You wouldn't be the worst hairdresser. My loop there. Now we still have around the body way too much hair there. Like I said, the slimmer it is, the better it is. You're going to get a lot more movement if that fly gets slimmer. Bulky is just going to slow down everything. It's just going to, that bulk is going to act like a huge break in the water. And that's what, we don't want that. We want that fly to be able to glide in the water. And at the moment, she will not glide nowhere the way she's looking. Yeah, like I said earlier, this is probably something that will take the most time, is definitely the clipping. Go bit by bit. Now don't cut them feathers as well. Block foam, any good fly tackle shop will sell those block foams. They are closed cell foam, so you find them. Most tackle shop will sell that foam. I don't know if I would have it. It has a big long name. Let's see if I find it here. There you go. That's basically it. That's the foam that I use. Wapsi foam blocks. You can cut any thickness that you want, any size. You can make popper heads. Very handy. As long as it's closed cell foam. That's the one that you want, like the closed cell one. You get better buoyancy out of it. Okay, starting to get a shape. I'm still not happy with it. There's still a lot more that can come off. Thank you, Trevor. Thank you, buddy. Much appreciated, my friend. That's that fly shop as well, ADH. I use them once in a while too. They are pretty good. They're based in Germany. Never had a problem with sanding stuff. Now that with the Brexit, yeah, some of the places I used to shop, it's become a bit of a pain now with the Brexit, I have to say. A lot of the shops I used to get my stuff from the UK, or when I used to buy on eBay, now they just charge you an arm and a leg for import tax, and the shipping is ridiculous. So it's now it's even cheaper just to bring stuff even from Germany, like, because it's in Europe. So there you go, modern world we live in. It comes from further away, burns more fucking airplane and time, but it's cheaper. So that's the way it goes now. Now we're starting to get a nice little shape. We're not there yet still. I want to get tighter to that hook. I want that hook to show a little bit more. So I'm going to go tighter around the hook there. To the side too, there's too much. Like, you want the bare minimum. You want to, of course, keep a good big profile. You want that fly to be seen and felt a long way. Again, just take it up, give it a brush, give yourself a bit of an idea. So I still have way too much here, which is normal because it's behind the feather. So you're always the one that you don't really go too hard on it. So just behind the feathers, that's going to need trimming. The head here on the side as well. That's another thing about the jerk changer, is that on the head, that head is usually narrow to the side as well. Okay, you get a height in the head, but a flat enough kind of profile. So that's going to help it for that glide again. So don't be afraid to keep the height like this. So we have the height with the foam, okay, but we are going to go a little bit harder onto the sides, okay, just to get that nice flat profile. If you look at a jerkbait lure, like a salmo or a slider, you see the way they are made. They are definitely high lures, but fairly thin. So that's exactly what we're going to try to achieve here too. A flat side. And we're going to thin behind those feathers on the side. Like I said, usually afraid to cut the feathers, so we kind of forget a little bit at the back here. I'll get back on the other cam. So yes, behind those feathers here, we're going to cut the head here flat. So we're going to push onto the side. Cut all those hairs on the side. So we get a more flatter profile, not as bulky. That's going to help with that, I got that word, erratic movement. And then behind them feathers there's quite a few hairs that I don't want, they're too long. Even here, that section at the hook there's way too much fibers here. So I'm going to squeeze them a little bit, push them out. You see, squeeze them a little bit so I can see where they are. I can see they're a lot longer here now when I push. You see these guys here behind the feathers. So these gonna have to go as well. Sometimes I be clipping a game changer like that, or a jerk changer, and I like just to leave it. Sometimes because you're so in it and you kind of keep looking at that thing and clipping for an hour, you're there. So sometimes just to let it rest and don't touch it, and come back the next day and have another fresh look at it. Sometimes it helps. But we are slowly getting there. I'm still not happy with it. We still have way too much at the hook. I need that to get down. So yeah, here I'm still too bulky. Getting there. It's all about taking your time. It's not something that you want to rush. I know that tomorrow I'll come back and I'll still take them, take some off. Merci JB. Yes, Michael. Do you sometimes go much more narrow on the side than on the top and bottom? Yes, definitely. To help, especially that glide movement that we are trying to get. Definitely the side of the head. We're going to try to flatten that and have a high head if you want, but definitely narrow and flat to the side. Like I said, I compared it earlier to those jerkbait lures, like a salmo, a slider, or those type of lures, or even a buster jerk. They have that swim because of that narrow profile. So that's exactly what we want to bring to this fly. It's not too bad for the rest of the body, from the hook down to the tail. If it's round, it's not going to make a big impact on the swim. Basically, it's that front section here that you want to guide the whole fly to move. So I look at the top, and again I can see that I have way too much hair. It's mad, because the more you take and the you don't know, you think there's more appearing. It looks like it grows as you cut, but like I said, just take your time, slow. It's definitely not something that you want to rush, because you will mess it up. And it's a long way to arrive all the way to that stage to mess it up with a bad hit of the scissors or something like that. You see that hook there? I can even feel it when I cut. It's way too thick still. I want to bring that down. We're nearly there. It's we're starting to have the shape now, but you can see it's too much here compared to that side. So keep looking at it, keep brushing it, keep cutting it, and eventually we'll get there. We're not too far. We are a few minutes away. Thanks for your patience. Starting now to have some sort of a shape. Now, because I don't know with this size of foam, I'm not too sure how it's gonna go in the water. So best to do when you go to the water with these flies after tying them, like I said, is bring a little bit of scissors If it's too buoyant, you can shorten a little bit that foam. So like I said, it's not a big deal if you put too much foam. It's even better to put too much foam, so at least you can take some off. But you can fish it without foam too, so but you're not gonna have that hang time. I tried even with compacting fibers, so I'd be curious to see how definitely a proper jerk changer is tied, just to have an idea on the amount of fibers that goes and the type of fibers. But for the moment we're doing them with canicalon, and like I say, I'm pretty chuffed. The one that I tied the last time, I had a couple of jacks the other day, so it was already a good omen. They were much smaller than these ones that I tied, but I just wanted to make a big one so like that you guys can see and have a better idea. So nearly there. See, that's what I mean when you see sometimes guys who have, like, they are in their first time clipping a Gamechangers or tying a Gamechanger or a jerkchanger. Usually the main problem they have is that they don't clip enough. So if you have too much fibers, it will not swim properly. It's going to break. It's going to act like a big break in the water, all these fibers, and you want that to glide and swim freely. So, but you still have a huge amount of bulk. It still is a big bait to fish. That pike will feel that long away with his lateral line when that is kicking in the water. Trust me. No, we're nearly there, nearly there, nearly there. Now for this I don't put any eyes because I just don't want any extra weight at the front, because we're trying to get that to glide and hold itself high in the water. Okay, not floating but holding himself up. So just no need for eyes. We're nearly there. That hook is easy to see. What happens as well on this is that pike usually take those a little bit when you fish a T-bone as well. Usually when the fly kicks and starts presenting itself to the side, that's usually when the pike comes and grab it right in the profile, sideways. So usually you get an excellent hookup because the heaviest part is where the hook is. So when it sucks in, it usually gets the hook right in the middle. So it's very, very hard to miss, unless they are very finicky. Then, like I said, if they are difficult, just bring down the size of your fly, fish with something smaller. But if they are feeding a fly that size with one hook, they will get hooked all the time, especially with the placement of that hook that's a little bit back. Like I've been fishing when I've articulated flies for a long time, like the T-bones, and I absolutely love a fly with an articulation at the front. I know a lot of people are using articulation at the back for a tail or something like that, but for quite some time I really love using an articulation at the front of the hook instead of behind, just because of the fact of that swim. Okay, what do we have? Trimming is really long. Yeah, it is. It's long, and you can't really push that. Like, that's the problem. Yeah, if you can't put it back. The scissors. Hold on. Let's see if I missed everything. I have to bend like that to look like an old man, but I have all the camera in front of my screen, so I can't see the comments. Okay, what do we have? Yes, definitely, Peter. Sometimes it's good just to leave it. Don't touch it anymore, especially if you start doubting. don't touch your fly, leave it and come back the next day, and you'll probably will see, give it another brush, and you will see that there's places that you need to go over again. You get a better, clearer look. The scissors that I use, yes, these are Fiskars, the soft grip fine point. I have been using, these are about 4 years old now, and I love them. They are sharp as ever, they're comfortable. Yeah, I tie all my flies with these scissors. I have one pair of scissors and that's it, and they are the one. JB, il doit faire vraiment des déplacements où vibration soit 12. Ça je pêche en soit 10. Those ones I would definitely fish with a 10 weight. But yeah, definitely that has a lot of presence in the water, those flies. They will feel them from a long way away. Like you'd be amazed what a pike can sense with his lateral line. Like they have a very, very efficient lateral line. Sometimes we don't give them enough credit. We always go for the visual aspect of a fly. We want flash, we want things like that. But simple lateral line, something that is bulky and moves water. That's why I'm a big fan of the T-bones, because they push and they move a lot of water. Like here in Ireland, it's quite often that we find pike that are blind from one eye, or they have really bad eyesight. I don't know if they had a fight or something happened to them, and they have no problem finding your fly. Like, you know, so this is completely due to their lateral line. All right, I think I'm gonna leave it like that. I probably will come back tomorrow and get some more cotton, but so far so good. I'm not fairly happy with the way that one turned out. Like I said, you're gonna find some places that needs more cotton, but that head is starting to get nice and flat on the sides. I think I can even bring it flatter again. On that side I can't, it's at the maximum. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that, and I probably will come back tomorrow and do some more clipping. But we are like 99% finished. So all right, so that's my version of the jerk changer. Like I said, don't take it for granted. There's many different ways to tie this fly, I'm pretty sure. But from what I tried and what I fished, I'm very happy with this one. So tons of movement. These are absolutely tons of movement. Okay, and that hook, okay, well back. Oh, we have the hook right here now. On that big long head at the front. We'll see if I put enough foam or too much foam. I can always cut it back down a bit. That's not a problem. But for the moment, I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to probably give it a little bit more trim. I think it's a little bit still, a little bit chubby around here. A little bit can come off. But you can maybe see, yeah, you can see, like I can see that I'm a little bit lopsided on the head. The more you look, the more you find imperfections, and you're gonna come back and clip again and change. But I think we have the main gist of it. So this is the head. You can see how we have that wide profile, but very narrow, just the width of the foam here. So that's my version of the jerk changer. You can tie it in smaller size as well. You don't have to go that big. This is a pretty big one, but it's easier for you guys to see because when we are live streaming, the camera is not always great. It's not like if I'd be doing one of the tying videos with the high quality camera. This is just a webcam. But just to give you an idea, that's about, yes. What happened if you tie the foam more in the front? What happened if you put it right at the front? What I'd be afraid is that it's gonna have start to have a diver effect instead of a glider effect. It's gonna be like basically like my mouse. Now that's heavy in foam because that needs to float because it is a diver. But yeah, I would go very, very sparse with the foam. I wouldn't put too much foam. I don't like to put too much foam. But like I said, it's only by trial and error that you're gonna find the right amount of foam for the size of your fly and the amount of fiber that you use. Do you use Congo? Are you going to do it with Congo? Are you going to do it with Canicalon? Depends what you prefer using. For basically, the bigger they are, I think Canicalon is more appropriate because it shades water super fast. You get a lot of volume, but it's a fly that's fairly airy. Loads of air and volume inside the Canicalon, so water don't tend to stick too much. The Congo hair is finer, so it's easier to have a little bit more of a wet sock effect for those. So I keep the Congo for the smaller ones like this, and I like to use the Canicalon then for the bigger one, the bigger bulkier one. That's Canicalon. All these are Canicalon. Okay. And then smaller ones, I go with the Congo. But if it's your first game changer, like I say, you cannot go wrong with this little 4 section and front hook. This is a great to go by. Thank you, Steve. You're a champion. Thank you very much for your donation, buddy. And thanks for all the ones that donated. Really, really appreciate it, guys. If you like, it's not something that I ask, of course. It's purely up to you. But a like on the video, subscribe goes a really long way because that's the way that YouTube, the more you have people liking the video or engaging in the video, the more they share it to a wider audience. So it'll reach more people that probably need to watch this video. So that's one way definitely of helping the channel, guys. So not gonna miss anything. I'll stay another couple of minutes with you guys, see if there's questions coming. Christian, ça fait plaisir. Merci. Yes, Chris, definitely take the scissors with you when you go fishing. And like I said, it's only for the first few that you're going to tie. After, you're going to get used to the size that you want to tie, and you get a fair idea on what works and the amount of hairs or fibers that you put in to get the action that you want. So definitely a little bit of tweaking after will be needed, but usually not much anyway. Like they are fairly good. Yeah, well, hopefully, I think we have a few more live stream anyway, so I'll probably see you guys next Friday. I can't remember what. I think I have the flasher next week. So does applying scent has benefits? Okay, that's something that I have tried and that I do try, especially if I fish deep in colder weather, deep and slow. I do add some scent to my flies. I have it. It's in my flow tube, actually, the stick. I can't remember. It's them amino acid scent, I think, that's used for sea fishing. It's a bit like a stick like this. It's a little stick. and it stinks. The one I have is eels, but what I do is I usually pull the fibers like that, and I rub it a little bit inside, and my fly do stink, but I do find I don't see a huge difference. It's not because I put the scent that I catch a lot more pike, but I think on some days when they come behind and they follow, having a scent behind definitely can give you that little edge to push that pike to eat. So yeah, scent, I do use scent, but not in form of oils, because it's dirty, and you have oily flies, and especially if you use a natural material, oils is it's gonna mess up your box. But using the I'll bring it the next live stream. If I think I'll bring you the stick. I can't remember the brand it is, but I think it was fairly expensive. It's some of them amino acid stick that you can put. So that's what I use. I don't use it all the time, but sometimes, like I said, if they are following, you have days that they are really just behind the fly like that. They just don't want to touch it. Adding a little bit of scent. Well, the way I see it, it cannot do any harm. Like, it's only a little bit of scent. It's not something strong like strawberry or. But never know. Like, I did catch pike on strawberry carp flavor mackerel, so you don't know. Pike are strange creatures, so definitely you can try all sorts of things. Julien, thank you very much. Merci, Julien, ça fait plaisir. Thank you. I'm glad I can help some of you guys, definitely. I enjoy sharing. I usually normally share what I know with guys when I do some guiding, but because with the COVID, I'm not guiding, so I just pass the knowledge to you guys, so I don't mind at all. I find it rewarding, and it's nice to get to know new people, and and a lot of people from different area. Look at that. We have Martin from New Jersey. How you doing, Martin? Hello to New Jersey. Indeed, popping a topper of a show, man. Thank you very much. Thank you, Paikitosh. Thank you. Yeah, I think next week we have the flasher, which is a really good fly. Easy to tie as well. So it's basically Canicalon and Congo with a bit more flash in the tail. We absolutely killed the Inoko with those ones. That was a good fly, and I tied it for the first time for that trip, and till that day I still carry them in my box because they are good, proven catcher for me. So you might as well tie some, and hopefully the weather is going to warm up a little bit because the water is a little bit cold, so I can start to get some float tube video and go and catch some pike. The action disc, yep, propeller. Yeah, the propeller size medium. Yeah, even the large one are fairly small, Peter. You definitely want the large one. If even they could make them in XL, that'd be great. Yeah, the action disc. I haven't tried the one that are commercialized, but I've been tying flies with action disc. Funny enough, there was a feed on my Facebook today of the first action disc that I used to tie. I tied them with the tippy top of the Kinder Surprise. I used to just cut the top of the Kinder Surprise, and you had a nice little concave cup, and I used those ones. Funny enough, I had the memories on Facebook arrived today, and that was 6 years ago. So we've been using here with clients, pushing disc for quite some times before they arrive on the market. It's not something that I do often now. I just enjoy the T-bones, simple, but they do work. Yeah, definitely. The water pushing disc work. It's just a buffered. You can tie a buffer as well. It'll push water too, but might not create as much turbulence behind. Okay, in the water with a lot of guys that fish conventional tackle, I suppose, like lures and all that, a streamer without flash better. Um, it's hard to say because it really goes on the mood that they have. I think already having something silent and more stealthy definitely is an advantage. To the guys who use a lot of gear. A lot of gear have a rattle. They make noise with the trebles and the split rings that they have. They are very clunky. They make noise. So even the fly sometimes has a great advantage because you don't have all that mechanical noise or steel noise on the water. And I'm just simply referring of the hook dangling and the articulation and a big clip at the front. So definitely something that will flow a little bit without making this different pitch of metal is a definite more important than the flash. So you can still try flash where guys are using conventional gear, but just the fact that it's not going to make as much noise, it's going to be a good thing. I think you're going to have the upper arm. Funny, I was talking that with Pascal a couple of days ago, and he had a great day against guys that were fishing conventional gear. The whole blank, and he had 8 or 10 pike, I think, on the day. So on the fly, on the water that is a little bit pressured. So yeah, the fly usually kind of something they're not used to, and it's more natural. Let's face it, when they come really close and look at your fly, if you stop the fly dead on the spot, there's always something moving. There's always a micro movement, either way with the flash or the feathers or the hairs. It looks still alive to a pike compared to a lure just sitting there with two big trebles underneath dangling. I don't think big wise pike, they see that coming a long way sometimes. But again, it all depends on the mood of the fish. Like pike can be so difficult on days and they can be so easy on others, so up to you to try. But I think just the fact that you are fishing fly, you would have a bit of an upper hand anyway. All right, guys, well, that was a big long one with 2.5 hours long. Time flies when you're making game changers. So that's it. That's the jerk changer. Not saying it's the exact one. I think I still have some tweaking to be done. I probably might even change the front hair. I think maybe put something a little bit more dense, maybe finishing the head with Congo hair to be able to sculpt it a little bit more, to have that narrow side to it. That might be another move that I can do. But like I said, you got the base, you have the you know how to make your shanks, so the sky is the limit now, guys, so no problem. JB, merci bien, merci, ça fait plaisir. Vendredi prochain, les gars. See you next Friday, guys, and hopefully I can start to get the flow tube out and get some stuff going. Martin, thank you very much. Merci. And hello to New Jersey and all the guys from around the globe. Good to see you, and I'll see you next Friday. Thank you very much. As usual, thanks for the support, thanks for the donation, and click that like button. I don't like to say that, and I don't like to ask for subscription, but it's a proven thing that if you kind of ram it into the head of people, they kind of go, oh yeah, I'm going to click the button. So not something that I like to do, but I have to say it, and like that we kind of get this stream and this channel moving bit by bit. Thanks for all the latest subscribers. I think like this month we just reached 100 subscribers for the month extra, so that's fantastic. It's definitely a good growth. So thank you very much, guys. Have a great weekend. If you go fishing, I said, like if we say in French, merde, I'll tell you shit, because that brings luck. And yeah, go out, fish, and enjoy. See you next week, guys. Press on my intro and my offline, and I'll see you next Friday. Thanks again for watching. Goodbye. Bye.